Welcome to our lecture on septic system inspections. If you or a client are buying a home with a private septic system, understanding how these systems work, how they fail, and how they are inspected is absolutely critical. Let's dive into the fascinating world of wastewater management. Before an inspector even sets foot on the property, the work begins at the office. They need to gather crucial data. How old is the house? When was the system last cleaned? Is the property high on a hill where water absorbs well, or low in a valley with a high water table? Gathering county documentation helps pinpoint exactly where the tank and drain fields are located. When looking at a property's layout, a general rule of thumb is that the drinking well and the septic system will be located on opposite sides of the house to prevent contamination. All the plumbing in the house, every sink, tub, and toilet, connects to a main drain line, usually a 4-inch pipe, that relies on gravity to carry wastewater out to the septic tank. Let's look inside a standard 1,000-gallon concrete septic tank. It is usually about 5 feet deep. The tank has an inlet pipe coming from the house and an outlet pipe leading to the yard. Crucially, the outlet hole is poured 2 inches lower than the inlet pipe to ensure water flows in one direction. Inside, you will find a front baffle and a rear baffle, which are essential for managing the waste. The rear baffle is arguably the most important part of the septic tank. When waste enters, solids and toilet paper float to the top. The rear baffle acts as a barrier, trapping these floating solids inside the tank so bacteria can slowly break them down into sludge at the bottom. This ensures that only clear liquid, known as effluent, flows out of the tank. If this baffle fails, solid waste escapes, which spells disaster for the system. Once the clear effluent leaves the tank, it enters a distribution box that routes it into the drain fields. A standard setup might include 2 50-foot trenches dug 10 feet deep. These trenches are filled with 8 feet of stone, topped with a perforated pipe, covered with a blanket, and buried. As the effluent flows through the pipe, it drips out of the holes and is naturally filtered by the gravel and the earth. Homeowners often cause their own septic failures. The 2 biggest culprits are grease and garbage disposals. When hot grease is poured down the sink, it eventually reaches the drain field, solidifies, and completely seals the pores of the gravel and earth. Similarly, food scraps from garbage disposals become waterlogged and get pushed into the drain field. Both of these completely choke the system's ability to absorb water. So how long does a system last? While old metal tanks used to collapse after 20 years, modern concrete tanks are incredibly durable. The real ticking clock is the drain field. On average, a drain field lasts about 35 years. However, if the property sits on a hill with highly absorbent soil, known as a good perk rate, and the homeowner avoids flushing grease, a drain field can easily last 50 to 60 years. During an official inspection, the tank is pumped completely empty and cleaned. The inspector looks for a few key things. First, they check the baffles, as body acids and salts can eat away at the concrete over time. Second, they watch the outlet pipe as the tank is pumped. If water starts running backward from the drain field into the tank, it is a major red flag that the field is saturated and failing. The final step is testing the drain field itself. The inspector will have the homeowner run water for an hour prior. Then they walk the yard. The ground should be firm. If it is squishy, smells, or has unusually green patches, the effluent is surfacing. The inspector will also push a metal probe deep into the soil. If the probe comes up dry, the field is draining perfectly. If it comes up dripping wet and black, the field is failing. To wrap up, a thorough septic inspection is a non-negotiable step when buying a home, as replacing a drain field can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Remember, a septic system's longevity is a combination of natural soil conditions and responsible homeowner habits. Keep the grease and food waste out of the drains, and the system will serve the home for decades.